Good morning, everyone. So glad to be back with you all today. Shanti is leaving right at 10 o'clock, apparently. So happy after a couple weeks away to be back practicing together, and glad that you're all here. I think I said hi to everyone, but if you haven't said hi yet, feel free. The playlist for class today is all the way at the top of that chat stream. And if there are any problems during class at all with sound or technology, just feel free to post in here. I'll be keeping an eye on it near the top of my mat. So I'm Mikki. If you've not practiced with me before, this is going to be our Saturday morning connection and check-in with ourselves. So taking exactly what you need this morning and leaving everything that you don't. Yeah, good morning, Stephanie. So what that means is this is meant to be really a no pressure practice. We've all got a lot going on in life right now. And so sometimes when we get to our mat, we need more stillness or no movement at all. Sometimes we need more movement to kind of burn through all of the clutter and the excess. So feel free to tune it down or tune it up at any point. We are getting started today in a comfortable seat. And I'm going to just recommend that you take a moment if crisscross applesauce, the Sukhasana seat is not really comfortable for you, if you find yourself with knees really up high. The goal here is actually to have the hips even with about or even higher than the knees. And so you might go grab a blanket or 5, a couch cushion, a meditation poof, a thick pillow, anything that you can put beneath your hips to get them a little bit closer to even with your knees so that as you sit here and breathe for a bit, you don't feel kind of restless and like you want to come out of it. If that's not possible for you, you might actually just grab a chair or an ottoman and kind of sit up in that for a little bit here. And then we're going to bring your hands to your lap. Let's go palm face up. Good morning, Renee. Glad you're here with us. Back of the hands on the knees. And then let's blink your eyes to closed. If it feels a little too claustrophobic to close the eyes, then just find a point on the floor in front of you to let the eyes settle upon. And let's begin to breathe in through the nose if you can. And out through the nose. In through the nose. And out through the nose. And as though that is the most important thing in the world right now, put all of your attention there into that act of inhaling and that act of exhaling. And as we repeat this for several moments here, I invite you little by little to put the world that you're carrying down. All of the worry, all of the concerns, all of the responsibilities. Just set them down. And give all of your attention and focus to this breath. Beginning to encourage that breath to move further down into your ribs, into your belly and your back, further down into yourself. And then with your next inhale, I want you to take the entire length of your inhale to slowly draw the thumb and the index fingertips to just ever so barely touch, the lightest little interaction. And then exhale, slowly let those fingers draw apart from one another. I'm just going to move that down the hands. So inhale, thumb and middle finger pull together, nice and slow. And exhale, let them separate. So we're going to continue that down the hand. The ring finger will be next. And as though everything that's important in the world exists between those two fingers, just let all of your attention fall right there. Feel every little micro inch of movement. Thumb and pinky. And let them separate. And we're going to work our way back up the hand, so we'll go to the ring finger next. And then the middle finger. And then the index finger. And then let's pull all those fingers in with this next inhale, nice and slow, just like the bud of a flower. As you exhale, let all of those fingers open up. And then go ahead and let's open the eyes, release those hands from your legs. And we're going to actually just transition down onto our back. So if you grabbed a blanket or a cushion, go ahead and just slide that off the mat. Remove your fur children from the mat. Hi, Musketeer. Come on down to your back. And let's bend the knees, place the feet on the ground. And in that same really slow, kind of dialed in way, we're going to press the feet into the ground. And as you inhale, I want you to start to lift your tailbone up off the ground and then each of your vertebrae from there. So like a kind of chain of dominoes until you get all the way up to the highest vertebrae that's going to lift off the ground. And then exhale, repeat or kind of reverse that, lowering that top vertebrae down. One by one, all the way back down to the tailbone. We're going to do that a few times. And I want you to just take this at a rhythm that is connecting for you. So if it feels good to just be really, really slow and methodical about it, be there with that. If that's driving you a little crazy, it's too slow, feel free to move at a quicker pace. Just kind of meet yourself where you're at. But whether it's slow or fast, I want you to direct all of your attention and focus here into this act of lifting the hips, lifting the spine. As though all that you needed to focus on in the world is here, right here. Just let this be where your attention is residing. Depending on your pace here, let's take at least one more round. If you're moving quicker, it might be 2 or 3. And then once your hips find the ground this next time, I'm going to float your knees up over your hips. Hi, Musketeer. So that you're in kind of a table shape, but the hands, instead of coming up toward the ceiling, are going to come to press to the tops of your thighs. So we want the knees directly over the hips. Shins can be parallel to the ground. I like to personally flex my feet. And then we're going to press the hands into the leg as though you're pressing those legs away from you, but the legs are going to resist back into your hands. You're going to do your best to keep that low back pretty neutral, pretty flat against the ground. Just a tiny bit of curve there. Starting to wake up your core just a bit this morning. And again, in that same really methodical, tuned in rhythm, You're going to start to lower your left heel to the ground. That left hand can kind of just hang out in space. That's going to be your exhale. Keep the pressure between your right hand and right leg. Inhale, bring that left leg back in. Alternating side to side here. Exhale, right heel taps. Inhale, bring it in. Trying to keep the distance between your low back and the floor, even through the entire process. Maybe you stop to pet your cat for a moment. Again, meeting yourself where you're at. If you need to do this faster or slower, just find that rhythm. But tuning out of all of the distraction today so that you can tune in to what's here, right here. If this feels a little shaky and hard, you're not alone. It is sneaky. Let's do one more on each side. And then when that right leg comes in the next time, go ahead and just pull those legs into your chest. Give yourself a little rock side to side. You might actually give yourself a hug if you feel like you're needing it. And then let's start to rock and roll up and down your spine. And we're going to make our way all the way up and over into table. Hi, Howard. Thank you so much. It's good to be back. So take your time, finding your hands and your knees. As you find your table, we're going to start to move through some cat-cow this morning to wake up the spine a bit more. So inhale, belly drops, head and heart lifts. And exhale, rounding the spine, letting the head fall forward. So just like everything we've done so far, putting your whole entire attention right here. Meeting yourself where you're at today with the rhythm, the speed, the tempo that kind of matches what helps you to connect, not what helps you to just kind of move through the practice, checked out and tuned out, but to really tune in. Let's take 2 or 3 more rounds here, depending on how quickly you're moving. Feel free to get a little more creative if something inspires you along the way. And within the next round or 2 of breath, we're going to settle into your table pose. So finding your neutral, long, flat back. As you find your table, let's tuck your toes under, hover the knees just an inch off the ground. So again, a little bit of good morning for your core. Ultimately, what I want you to find here as you float those knees is really, truly kind of that flat table back. And just watch if your head falls forward. For some reason, when we are working the core, the head wants to try to help. And just try to keep that neck long. We're going to put the knees back down, but try to maintain that little bit of core support and that neutral spine. You can go ahead and untuck your toes. And then we're going to try to maintain a good amount of stability from your hips to your shoulders. As you inhale, take right leg and maybe left arm forward. And then exhale, bring hand and shin back down to the ground. We're going to alternate side to side there, left leg, right arm. And your kind of focus here, your challenge is to minimize how much that midsection moves, right? So can you hold it really, really stable? And do this lifting of leg and arm, not from hip and shoulder necessarily, but from deep within yourself, deep within your core. Just like everything we've done, find your personal rhythm this morning. And to be as fully tuned in to what you're doing here as you can. You've got one more on each side. The next time that left leg, right hand comes down, You get to tuck your toes under, take your hips up and back, downward facing dog. And for this first down dog this morning, let's take your feet as wide as your yoga mat. Let the pinky edges of your feet line up with the edges of the mat. Let's maybe even turn your hands out a bit so the index fingers point toward like 2 and 10 on a clock. Let your head hang heavily between your arms and just work that effort back into your feet and your legs. And I want you to start to move the hips a little side to side, just like the oldest, slowest, sassiest dog tail wag. And then we're going to pivot your feet so that the heels turn in, the toes turn out. Keep that side to side sway of the hips. And then let those hips come to center, and we're going to crawl your hands all the way back to your feet. Just let your knees bend as much as you need to here. Keep those toes turned out if it feels okay. And once you're at the back of the mat, let's go ahead and grab opposite arms or elbows and just continue a little bit of that side to side sway. So it's not so much so that you're kind of coming off of one of your feet, but it is enough that you're feeling that weight shift right and then left, right and left. And then one of those times you pass through center, let the hands come down so you have a little support, and let's parallel your feet. Any amount of bend to the knees still, hands come back to elbows or opposite forearms, opposite arm in front, if that makes sense. And again, just one more moment here of that side to side sway, releasing outer hips, outer low back. And then we'll let the hands return down to the ground. Weight's going to attempt to stay back into your feet as you ever so slowly crawl out into your downward facing dog. If you saw my pictures of lions from my trip, downward facing lion. They're very slow and methodical about it. All right, from this down dog, bring those feet to whatever distance feels comfortable for you today, and we're going to come forward into plank with a smile of just sheer joy on your face. We're here for a couple breaths. I'm going to encourage that you do a little rock forward and back on the toes. Personally, those slight, kind of subtle movements help my mind to stay a little bit more tuned in to what I'm doing. Sometimes I find it's easier in the complete stillness to check out. And then hips up and back, downward facing dog. As your hips go up and back, let's take that right foot, begin to lift it up toward the sky, any amount. And we're going to bring your right foot forward between your hands. Let's come on up into your crescent lunge. Back knee, back heel off the ground. Hands can be high up toward the sky. If your shoulders are feeling grumpy this morning, just hands at heart is always a good option. And we're going to press into your right big toe. Inhale, straighten that front leg. Let your two legs get completely elongated. Keep the back leg really active, and exhale, rebend that front knee. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, straighten. And exhale, bend. 1 more time, straighten. And bend. As you bend that front knee, let's start to feel your weight shift into that front foot. We're going to sneak your left foot forward into chair. Oh, joy. Doesn't have to be the deepest chair ever. There'll be a few more of these in your life this morning. And then inhale, let's straighten your legs. Feel that moment where you get fully straight, the body gets stacked. And then exhale, let's sit back into chair. Inhale, legs straighten. Exhale, sit back. Okay, 1 more time, we'll straighten. And then we'll sit. As you sit into chair, let your body fold over your legs, hands toward the floor, head down, and let those legs straighten and knee them out. Let's take your fingers, slide them up the front of the shins. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, we'll fold. Let your hands find the ground again, and we'll step back right, then left into plank. Let's go ahead and take your knees down to the ground for this first round. Elbows point straight back. We'll lower to the belly. If you want to skip the vinyasa and head to down dog, be my guest. All the way down, untuck those toes, and inhale just a little low baby cobra to get started here. Head lifts, heart lifts, shoulders lift. Legs are active, feet pressing down into the floor. We'll let your forehead come on down toward the ground. Press into hands and knees, come on up, table. And downward facing dog. Big full breath in here. And full complete breath out. Let's take your left leg, lift it up and back. And step that foot forward between your hands. We're going to rise up, crescent lunge. Hands at heart or hands reaching up, your choice. We'll root into that left big toe, let the front leg straighten. And then exhale, bend the knee. Inhale, straighten, maybe fall over. And exhale, bend. One more time, straighten. And bend. As you bend that front knee, feel your weight begin to shift into that front foot. Step your right foot next to your left, chair pose. Maybe you challenge yourself by sitting down a tiny bit more. And then inhale, let your legs straighten all the way. Let's do that 2 more times. Sit back. And straighten. One more time, sit back. And straighten. This time, let those hands come down through center on straight-ish legs. Let's fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, fold. Plant those hands on the ground. We'll step back left, then right. Plank pose. For your chaturanga, you can choose knees up or down this round. You can also skip it completely and head into your downward facing dog. I'm going to stick with baby cobra, but if you're feeling ready to come up to a higher cobra or up dog, feel free. And then when you're ready, make your way back through table or plank and into downward facing dog. Big full breath in here. Full, complete breath out. Right leg lifts as you breathe in. Right foot forward between your hands. Come up to your crescent lunge. Let's inhale, straighten that front leg. As you bend the front knee, this time we're also going to bend your elbows out into a goalpost shape. High fives, everyone. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. And bend. Then let's go ahead and keep that front knee bent. Take your hands back up toward the sky. Start to feel that weight shift into the front leg. Step forward into your chair. As you find the chair, we're going to take your arms forward parallel to the ground. We're going to try to keep the torso or the hips and the legs steady. Let the rotation for what we're about to do come from the waist up. We're going to drop that right hand down and back. down and forward. Left hand down and back, down and forward. Let's do 2 more times on each side. Exhaling into your rotation, inhaling out of it. Maybe this last round you sit down a tiny bit more. That's a suggestion you can ignore if you want. And then as the hands come forward this time, let them come back up to the sky. Shift back into that right foot. Take your left leg back into your lunge. Ground your back heel. Let's open up into warrior two. So front knee, front toes pointing straight forward. Those back toes are turned in just a bit. We're going to try to keep that bottom part of the body steady again. And we're going to let the movement come from what we're about to do again, from the waist up. So inhale, left hand down the back leg, right hand up. Reverse warrior. Exhale, right elbow, right thigh. Left hand up and maybe forward. We're going to go back and forth there a couple times. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, side angle. How about 2 more? Your attention dialed in here again, just like everything that's important in the world exists right here in this moment. We'll reverse one more time. And then as you exhale, we'll take your 2 hands down around the front foot, back heel lifts. We'll step back into downward facing dog. Now you might stay here for a few breaths. You could child's pose for a few breaths, or inhale, plank. Chaturanga with your breath out. Back bend of your choosing with your breath in. And then back you go, downward facing dog. When you are ready, no rush, left leg lifts. Foot between your hands. Come on up, crescent lunge. Press into your left big toe, straighten the front leg. As you exhale, bend the knee, bend the elbows. 2 more times, straighten, reach up. Bend as you exhale. 1 more. We'll keep that front leg bent. Take your 2 hands back up to the sky. Start to feel your weight shift into that front foot. Right leg steps forward, chair pose. Arms go parallel to the ground. Let's start with your left arm first this time. Exhaling into the twist. Inhaling out of it. Being mindful of the rotation of your shoulder and your arm, especially in that back arm, so that there feels like there's a great freedom of movement and breath in that shoulder. So as opposed to kind of a closed shoulder, see if you can find a place where it feels open. We'll do 1 more on each side. You might challenge yourself by sitting down a bit more. And then as that right arm goes forward, let the 2 hands go up to the sky. Shift back into that left foot, right leg steps back. We open up, warrior two. Taking a moment to set the legs. Truly let your foundation become steady. And then inhale, reverse. Exhale, left elbow, left thigh, right arm up or over. Settling into your rhythm, your pacing here. 3 times more. We'll take one more reverse. Hands to the floor as you exhale. Back you go. Downward facing dog. Your practice, you're tuning in, your choice. You can stay or inhale plank. Chaturanga, exhale. Cobra or up dog, inhale. Your journey back to downward facing dog as you exhale. From this down dog, let's lower your knees to the floor. Knees as wide as you need them, big toes together. Child's pose. We're going to take your hands about shoulder width apart, and we're going to pop up onto your fingertips like you've got really good cupcakes under your palms. And you're trying not to squish the frosting. See if the thumb and pinky finger, sides of your hands, can be equally pressing into the ground. And just feel a sense of doming in your two armpits. Press the weight back into your hips just a tiny bit more. And flatten those palms. And we'll rise up into table. Bring those knees back to parallel. Let's take just a couple rounds here of cat-cow, just nice and easy. I think this is the first time I've filmed a class in this spot since we started using the heater. And there's a heater vent right above my yoga mat. So I don't know about you, but I'm very, very warm at the moment. Final round here. As you find your cow the next time, let's tuck your toes under, hips up and back, downward facing dog. And we're going to continue on the journey of our flow here. So we'll take that right leg to the sky as you feel ready, no rush. Try to keep the weight even between your two hands. And we're going to step your right foot forward between your hands. Let's come up to that crescent lunge once again. Let's inhale, straighten the front leg. This time as you bend the front knee, we're going to bring your hands together and tap the left elbow to your right thigh. And then untwist and straighten the leg. It's going to be a bit of a balance challenge, so just be compassionate and patient. Exhale, bend and tap. Inhale, straighten and reach. And one more time, bend and tap. And straighten and reach. Let's let your eyes get really steady, straight forward. Bend that front knee, just let it kind of glide into the pocket of your lunge there. Feel the weight shift into your front foot. We'll step your left leg next to your right. Chair pose. You're here for a couple of breaths. You can stay with heels down or roll up onto the balls of your feet. Let the heels lift. And then we'll gently let those heels come on back down to the ground if they're lifted. Straighten your two legs, standing up. Shift into that right foot. Let your left knee bend. Arms go forward, parallel to the ground. Option to stay here. Option to take that left arm down and back. Let's give that left foot some juice, like it's got something to step into. And just find yourself standing very, very tall here, up the axis of your spine. Maybe turn your two palms up toward the ceiling. Reach out through the fingertips. Left hand goes down and forward. And let's step all the way back into your lunge. As you land here, we'll open into warrior two once again. This time we're going to straighten your front leg. Just like we do when our pelvis is neutral facing forward, really try to root into that right big toe. We're going to take your right hand, reach it way, way, way forward, and then let that hand come ever so gingerly down onto the inner shin. Left hand to the sky. And let's just start with that hand maybe about your knee height. We're going to exhale, slide it down the leg as deep as you want to go. Inhale, slide it back up. You've got a couple more there. Exhale, slide down. Inhale, slide up. Last one, slide down. And slide up. Let's keep sliding all the way up. Left hand down the back leg, right hand up and back, reverse triangle. And then keep the reverse shape in that upper body. Bend your front knee right toward the middle of the front foot, reverse warrior. With your next exhale, we'll take your two hands down around your front foot, back heel lifts. Back you go, downward facing dog. You know the drill at this point. Maybe it's child's pose, maybe it's here, maybe it's your vinyasa. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. And back you go. Downward facing dog. Big full breath in. Full complete breath out. Trying to keep the weight even between your two hands. Left leg lifts. Foot comes forward between your hands. We rise, crescent lunge. We'll root into the left big toe, straighten the leg. Exhale, bend the knee, hands to heart. Right elbow taps left thigh. Inhale, untwist, straighten, reach. Two more like that. Let's pause the next time you reach up. Front leg is straight. And then bend into that front knee. Just glide right into the pocket of the lunge. Feel that weight transfer to the front foot. Shift forward into your chair. We'll be here for a couple breaths. Heels might stay down, or up you go to the balls of the feet, heels lift. Heels come down. Let those legs straighten. When you're ready, we're going to shift into your left foot, right leg lifts. Arms reach forward. Give that right leg some juice. So instead of just kind of having it hang heavily, imagine it's got something to push down into. That's going to help you stand a little bit taller. Right hand drops down, hand back. Feel that line of energy from your left heel through the crown of your head and from your heart out through your two arms. You might even play with turning those palms skyward, extending out through the fingertips. Take that right hand, drop it down and forward. We'll step back into your lunge. Open up, warrior two. Straighten that front leg, keep that left big toe grounded. And we'll begin to reach your left hand way forward. And then just let that hand come down, maybe about as high as your knee, right hand up to the sky into that T shape. We'll slide your left hand down the leg as you exhale. Very little weight on that hand, if any. And then inhale, back up you go. 2 more, slide down. And slide up. 1 more time. This time as you slide up, you're just gonna keep sliding up. Right hand down the back leg, left hand up. Bend that front knee toward the middle of the front foot. And then exhale, hands down around your front foot. Back you go. Downward facing dog. You know the options. Stay, be still, or keep moving. But whatever you do, put your entire attention into what is happening here in this moment. Allow yourself a really full breath in. Allow yourself a full, complete breath out. And then final round here, we're going to take your right leg, lift it up. And step it forward, coming into your lunge. Just feel your 2 feet here. Feel the power of your back leg. A little bit of that sense of the left thigh pressing toward the hamstring to give that leg juice. We're going to start to lean your body forward over the front thigh. Hands are going to reach back. You are invited and welcome to stay here. Or we're going to begin to shift weight forward into that front foot, coming up into warrior 3. We'll be here for a few breaths. This is kind of our final challenge of the practice. You can stay with 2 hands back. You can fall out at any time. If it happens, just come back in. You can start to take your right arm forward, just like we did in that table work really, really early on in our practice. Feel the lift of left leg and right arm coming from your core. Maybe both arms come forward. And then let's just lower that left leg down next to your right. 2 arms reaching up toward the sky. And then let's lower your arms down by your sides. Palms face forward, thumbs turn out. Let your eyes close or the gaze drop completely. Let all of your attention come here, right here. As if this act of standing and this act of breathing are the most important tasks in your world right now. As you inhale the next time, let's pull all those fingers in toward the thumb like that little bud of a flower. And then exhale, open the hands back up. Feel that vitality out through every single fingertip. Inhale, hands go skyward, eyes blink open. And exhale, let's fold. Halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, fold. We're going to make your way back to down dog. If you would like to put a vinyasa here, this is going to be your last vinyasa of this morning's practice. When you're ready, no rush. Left leg lifts. Footsteps forward between your hands. We rise. Final crescent lunge of the morning. We'll use this crescent lunge to prepare ourselves for the balance work. Let your eyes get steady. Breath steady. Let that back leg find its power to hold itself. But feel that integration deep within your core. We're going to start to lean forward. Both hands will reach back. And remember, this is an option to stay here and just to think about that active balancing of coming up onto one foot. If and when it makes sense, let's shift into that left foot. Coming up. Warrior 3. Feel that right quad moving into your right hamstring. You might stay just like this. You might take your left arm forward. You might take both arms forward. And then let that right leg lower when you're ready next to the left. Feet root down, hands reach up. And then let your hands come on down by your sides, palms forward, thumbs out. Eyes drop or eyes close. Right into your Tadasana. Feels like a simple act of standing. Try not to check out, to tune out. Try not to minimize it. Every bit of your focus and attention right here. With your next inhale, pull all of those fingertips to touch. And exhale, open those hands. And then let's blink your eyes open. We're just going to turn the toes out, heels turn in. Hands to heart or hands to sky. We're coming all the way down to the ground eventually, but we're going to come through your squat. So honor your knees, honor your hips, honor your ankles. If it feels good, just linger to hover in a squat for a few moments, whatever depth that squat is. This invitation is here. When you are ready to plop down onto the ground, do that with minimal amount of plop. And then let's come soles of the feet together, knees open, badha konasana. Hands on shins or ankles, and let's sit tall. How we do anything is how we do everything. So give this shape, this seat, this breath, the entirety of your attention and focus. And it's a practice because we don't get it right every single breath and every single time. But we begin again with the next inhale, the next moment. If it feels nice to stay up tall, stay up tall. If it feels better to begin to fold in, begin to fold in. We have about 5 more rounds of breath here. We'll walk your hands back in if you've folded. Let the hands come to those outer legs. Help press the legs together. Root your feet down into the ground. Make sure you have yoga mat to lie down on. Hands reach past your legs. And let's ease yourself down all the way on to your back. Walk your feet in, knees hip width apart, feet hip width apart, setting up for your bridge once again. Hands alongside your body. Inhale, press into your feet, let your hips lift. Exhale, nice and slow. Spine lowers, hips lower. So we're going to dynamically come up and down 2 more times. And then up to you, you can either stay with that dynamic lift and lower, or you can settle into a longer hold of your bridge. So from here, your choice to stay moving or to come up and hold. Arms can stay alongside your body if you're holding, or you can walk those hands beneath you into a clasp of thumbs or all of your fingers. One more full breath wherever you're at. And then nice and slow, release the clasp if you have it. Let your hips come all the way back down to the floor. And the knees can either sway a little side to side, or you can just let the knees fall in on each other. Feet can go wide, whatever feels best there. And just breathe into the shape that you've created through your practice this morning, kind of like the physical shell of yourself. Breathe into the energetic and emotional and mental space that you've created. And then let's separate your feet hip width again if they shifted, knees hip width. Let's keep your left foot really, really grounded where it's at. We're going to bring your right knee in to the chest. Give that leg a squeeze, holding onto hamstring or shin. Option to stay here, option to slide those hands onto the hamstring and to take that right leg up to straight. And just keep that left leg bent because we're going to use it here in a moment. Let this be kind of a softer version of this hamstring stretch today. We are moving into a supine twist. So as you're ready, we're going to take that right leg either into figure 4, ankle on thigh, or eagle, just kind of a full cross like you're sitting in a chair. Arms are going to open into a T, and we're going to let your legs either in figure 4 or that full cross. Knees go to the left. Just try to stay rooted and grounded into that right shoulder. If the full wrap, figure 4, if those options are just too intense for your twist today, you could fully just release that right leg. So you've got 2 kind of V shapes, both knees pointing to the left. One more full breath here. And let the knees come on up to center. Shift your hips back to center, uncross that right leg, foot to floor. Really make sure that right foot feels rooted, grounded into the mat. We'll bring your left knee in, reach down, hold on to shin or thigh. You might choose to stay here or supporting the hamstring of the left leg. Let that left leg come all the way up to straight. And then when you're ready to move into that twist, you of course can stay here longer if this is like, oof, everything you need today. Figure 4 or full cross of that leg. Arms open to the T. We'll take knees toward the right and settle in. Again, that invitation, if these twists are too deep, they just don't feel quite right in your body today, to just release that left leg slightly behind the right. So you've got 2 separate V's there. And we'll bring those knees back to center, hips to center, uncross the leg. Pause. Just notice if your body is asking for anything else. Take some time for whatever comes to mind. And when you are ready, legs go out to straight. Arms come down by your sides, or any shape that's going to allow you to find and take rest this morning. And try not to grab your phone or get distracted by something in your day or your space right now. Just give yourself these last moments of your practice. Allow your focus here to just settle right around your heart space. The heart here being the root, the anchor of the mind. And if your mind is like the boat on top of the ocean, and your heart is that deep, deep stillness under the water. As you give yourself rest here today, even if that stillness, that tranquility within your heart, within that deep space within yourself feels hard to find, can you find even the essence of that? Allow your attention to reside there. If you find yourself craving and needing more time here today, it's a benefit of practicing at home. You can stay. But when you find yourself ready to begin deepening your breath, just let that process unfold. When you find yourself ready to begin moving your body again, just organically let that happen in a way that feels really good for you. And when you feel ready to make that journey back up to your seat, just be slow and continue to be really mindful about that journey, about your movement. Taking your time to eventually settle in that seat, hands coming together at your heart. And just feeling that connection of each of your fingertips to one another, that connection between your palms. Taking the attention, the intention, and the connection that this practice gave to you today as a gift for yourself and for everyone you connect with along the way. Namaste. Thank you so much, everyone. It was so lovely to be back together with all of you. I missed you. Couple quick things before you head off. So all of the donations, the contributions that you make for today's practice, Monday's practice, and our Thanksgiving practice are being donated to Basic Rights Oregon in honor of Transgender Day of Remembrance, which was yesterday, in which we honor all of the trans people that we lost this year to self-harm, to violence, to COVID, and other ways yet to be determined. Our social media post yesterday shared some links and some more information about that if you're curious. So the information to contribute is in the description of class. It's also on our website. So Venmo, thanks for yoga, PayPal, yogaandbeerthanks@gmail.com. Any donations you made via MindBody. And that'll be happening through Thanksgiving, which if you're looking for something to do on Thanksgiving while we all stay home, we have class Thursday morning at 9 a.m. I'll be leading that flow. I look forward to that. And if you're looking for a way to connect, we're meeting as a book club via Zoom tomorrow at 4 p.m. You don't have to have read the whole book. We're reading Anxious People. You could download it or listen to it today and just get through as much as you can and join us tomorrow, 4 p.m. Details are on our website. And then last thing I should say, everyone who donates for the classes this week for Basic Rights Oregon, we're going to enter you into a drawing to receive a Protect Trans Kids tote bag. So that we'll be drawing one lucky winner for that. So thank you all so much. Let's see who's chatting. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Stephanie. Amazing to practice with you again too. Wished it was in person, but glad it was over a screen. Nicole, I feel a little less bad. I mean, this heater is really intense, but I was like, oof, sweaty. Thank you, Karen. Namaste, Wendy. So glad to have you here. Oh yeah, lots of love to Max, Stephanie, for me too, please. Shelly, thank you. Appreciate you being here. Cheryl and Jerry, you're right. I do go on vacation and bring back chairs. Thank you. And Laura, I love burrito shavasana. I actually, because we had the blankets, potentially I almost suggested that today. All right, everyone. Thank you, Emily, so much. I'm glad you were here with us. Glad it's what you needed. Karen, glad you were here. Thank you. I just appreciate you all. I'm so grateful for this community, and I'm so grateful that we can still be coming together even as we stay home. It feels like we've been doing this for a long time now, and I almost can't imagine life without it. So I'm just grateful for you all. We'll continue these streams until as long as they don't make sense, I guess. All right, everyone, I'm going to hit end. Have a lovely day. I will see you next time.